Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Meet the Candidates. I'm David Thomas, and right here in front of me is Mr. Charles Dabelgott. He is the candidate for Bedford County Property Assessor.
Correct.
Charles, thanks for sitting down with us and talking with us. We appreciate you taking your time out, and I know that the voters will be glad to hear out of your out of your own mouth, how you feel about the office and the campaign and so forth. First of all, Charles, just give us a little bit of your background, where you're from, what your career has been, and about your family, maybe.
Okay, sounds good. David, thank you for inviting me in today. So, David, I was born in Texas. I grew up in a little town called Brenham, Texas. It's where Bluebell ice cream is made, actually.
Okay.
So I'm sure someone's put a little Bluebell in their mouth
Oh,
from time
yeah.
to time in the county.
Yeah.
And so I grew up in this town. It was about 10,000 people, and both sets of grandparents were both farmers and ranchers in Texas. So I come from a very much an agricultural background. I have a degree from Texas A&M in animal science. So I was going to go into vet school, and then I made a strategic change, and I ended up getting a minor in real estate economics and a minor in genetics. So I kind of blended that together, and I graduated A&M in 1988.
Okay.
And I decided at that time that I needed a job. I actually had to make money and do stuff on my own, right? I left the house. So I actually started working for Farmers Insurance as a claims rep. So I was handling property claims and mainly catastrophe hurricane claims in Texas.
Yeah.
And I worked through the ranks at Farmers Insurance. I was there for 25 years as an employee.
Okay.
Toward the end of my term at Farmers, the last 15 or 18 years, I was an executive for Farmers Insurance. I was a vice president of distribution, and I controlled and led the Southern California distribution team. So I went from Texas, working in Texas about 10 years in claims, then off to California, and I worked the distribution from LA down to Mexico.
Okay.
So I had a pretty big group of people. I had about 3,000 agents underneath me, about $3 billion P&L I led. And I retired from that because at that time, and that was 2013, after 25 years, I decided I wanted to take a chance at being an entrepreneur.
I see.
So I went out and I bought and acquired some insurance agencies, farmers insurance agencies, and I put those together, and I started my own brokerage. And I grew that until around 2018 and sold that business and started another health MGA that I did with a couple people on the East Coast. We started that, and around COVID time, everything kind of shut down in California. And my wife and I, and her name is Kelly, we had to make a decision. Were we going to stay in California, where the politics has started getting a little bit crazy and everything with COVID got a little crazy, or were we going to move somewhere that we felt more comfortable with politically and with the people?
Right.
So in 2021, we made a move, and I had sold my health MGA, managing general agency, and we made a move to Tennessee. Her family's all from Virginia. My family is from Texas, so we decided Tennessee was a good middle point, right?
Yeah.
So we moved out here with the goal to start a horse farm. We rescue thoroughbreds, and not technically a rescue, but we take in thoroughbreds from the racetrack, and we rehab those. And then I also raise Friesians, and we have a few cows and chickens. And our goal was to retire and just move out here and just love the country, right?
Right.
We live out in the Flat Creek area. We have a nice spread out there, and we just love it here. And about 6 months into it, I realized I was getting a little bored. Retirement wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I started doing some consulting, insurance consulting and real estate consulting. So I have my real estate license and insurance license. And I started doing all that. And then I guess it was probably January of this year when I started thinking about how could I give back to Bedford County? How can I relook at my life a little bit? I've achieved a lot, but I really hadn't achieved everything I wanted to by giving back. I'd been part of charities and done a lot of work with the March of Dimes and the Monarch School for the homeless in San Diego, but I had not done anything really for Bedford County except volunteer from time to time with New Destiny Dog Rescue. So I talked to my wife and I said, I'd really like to run for office. So I had to decide, what am I going to run for, right? I'm new in town. People may be a little leery of me because I am new to town and from California, but I'm the good kind from California. I'm a red-blooded conservative. And so I made the decision at that time to say, I'm going to run for office. And I saw the property assessor office. It's not too political. It's more of a logistical job, but I can also give back and be part of the decision-making process, maybe have some influence on the mayor, may have some influence on the different offices in town. And so I started networking. I started going around to all who I consider leaders in the community and talking to them. And I got a vote of confidence. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put my name out there. A little scary to do it in town where you don't know 100% of everyone, but I've really been having a good time with it. So that's kind of some of my background. I do have an adult daughter. She's about 32 years old. Erin's her name. Okay. And then my mother-in-law lives with us too. Her name is Pat O'Neill. And so we're loving Bedford County.
All right. Awesome. Well, you've sort of answered already question number 2, and that was what's led you to the point to lead to run for office, and you've pretty much answered that. Is there anything you'd like to add to that decision?
No, I think really the reason I want to run for office is I do want to give back and be in a place where it's not about the money. It's more about, people say, well, why do you want to do an administrative job? It's like, I just want to be part of the leadership of the county. I want to be part of that in making money. And I do think that in that leadership role, I think we can be a lot more communicative with the community about what goes behind assessments and how do those assessments really impact you when it goes to the trustee, and what is your tax bill going to be. I think there needs to be a lot of education for everyone, because the more we're educated, the more we don't fear the change or getting a tax notice that says your property value went up 1, 2, 3 times, right? So I think it's important to kind of be really communicative with the community so they understand kind of the impact of what does that appraisal mean.
Well, what do you feel like our greatest challenges are in that job, in the assessor? I think you've touched on a little bit of the communication part. What do you think our biggest challenge is going forward?
Well, I think some of the biggest challenges is, what is the state of Tennessee? How do they regulate assessments, and what are our confines to that? But I think one of the things that I would like to really look at legislatively with inside of that position is, how do we really look at assessments, and what assessment value do we put on maybe subdivisions different on the developer, not the owners of the subdivided properties, but how do we more fairly assess those people that are developing versus the people that are living in the county? So I think there's a split between looking at all the green belts versus the people living in town. How are we fair? How are we assessing that? And how do we make sure that all the people that want to come in and develop, that they're paying their fair share of assessment up front?
I got you. Okay. Next question. What's your favorite thing about Bedford County?
My favorite thing about Bedford County, I guess I have to say the walking horses.
All right. Okay.
My whole family, we've always loved horses and equestrian. First time we came into town, when we started looking at property, we drew a map around Nashville about an hour out. And we came in and went to the celebration for the first time. That was our first week here when we started looking at property. So we got to watch the celebration. I'd never watched any part of the celebration before. So that was a really eye-opening part of it. I also just like the fact that Bedford County is very rooted in conservative values. I think that everyone is very fair, generous to each other. We do have some rifts here and there, but I just love the small town where we can kind of control our growth, but we're still kind of rural enough, and we can enjoy our company and really trust each other, and everyone kind of looks out for everyone. Right.
Next question. If you had a magic wand and just could wave it and change anything about Bedford County, what would that change be?
I think if I had a magic wand and could change Bedford County, I think we need to figure out, how do we constructively bring strong businesses into town that we can leverage for our tax base, instead of charging us more taxes every year for property tax? How do we how do we manage the growth? How do we make the county more appealing to events like soccer events, baseball events, basketball tournaments, whatever, or any, restaurants, or
Right.
like Nearest Green, or like Lynchburg has Jack Daniel. How do we bring more of that into the county so we can get that revenue from people who are visiting and not necessarily the people
Right.
who live here? And I think if I could wave a magic wand, I'd rather have our income source coming from taxation, or people coming in and using our facilities and using our hotels,
Right,
using
yeah.
our restaurants, using our grocery.
Okay. All right. Well, the mic's yours now. What would you like to say to voters out there and to the people of Bedford County?
Okay. I'd like to say to the voters that I know that I'm new to Bedford County, new to Tennessee, have my roots in Texas, so I've got very conservative roots. I have voted Republican every single year. I've been able to vote since I was 20 years old. And I would just like to say, I'd like you to take a chance on me. I'm going to bring a lot of new ideas to the property assessor office. There are things that I cannot do, but what I can do based on the confines of law. But also I want to be able to influence those lawmakers that kind of direct and make changes through
Sure.
assessment and through
Yeah.
taxation. I would ask you to think about my experience. I've got not only experience as being an employee from the bottom of the rung to the top of the rung of leadership. I have strong family values in background of farming, machining, machine works. And also I've got a very strong background in entrepreneur. So I know how to start a business. I know how challenging that is. I know what a small business goes through to survive every month. You start out the first of the month, you either have zero or you have $100. The next day you have zero, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay the payroll. So I know what it's like to make money, pay payroll, and employ people. So I've got a good mixture of that business, and I got a good mixture of that entrepreneur spirit. And I'd like your vote. I'd like your support for me running as property assessor for Bedford County in 2026. And early voting starts next Friday, and I believe that's the 17th, right?
July 17th.
Yep.
Yep.
And in-person voting's on August 6th, and I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Charles, thanks for sitting down
Yep.
with us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back again with another edition of Meet the Candidates real soon. Thanks for watching.